Page 177, Chapter 9, Crisis in the Janata Party. The inherent contradictions of the conglomeration known as the Janata Party had surfaced soon after it assumed office. Individual ambitions, mutual distrust, open bracket, almost to the point of hatred, close bracket, ideological differences, lack of commitment to any program, and the absence of effective leadership made the coalition crumble long before expected. Janardhan Thakur described the characteristics of the triumvirate of the Janata Party, Morarji Desai, Charan Singh, and Jagjeevan Ram, in the following manner. Each one of the geronocrats, I repeat, geronocrats, thought and behaved as though he himself had brought about the victory. Desai was acting Sarvocha again. After all, it was under his chairmanship that the Janata Party had won the victory, and this was the time to pick up the thread where it had lost years ago, when he had been denied his succession to the throne. He had always thought of himself as Nehru's logical heir, but he had been, open inverted comma, cheated, close inverted comma, by the machinations of, open inverted comma, small men, close inverted comma, in politics. He had repeatedly staked his claim to the prime ministership, but each time he had been thwarted by open inverted comma, chit of a girl, close inverted comma, who was, open inverted comma, not suitable, close inverted comma, for the office and whom he had considered his, open inverted comma, duty, close inverted comma, to oppose. Page 178. Even more than him, Charan Singh considered himself the architect of not only the Janata Party, but even more of its victory at the polls. The clean sweep from Amritsar to Patna, as he was to claim later, was entirely due to him. If anybody deserved the crown, it was him. So also thought Jagjeevan Ram, who had nursed as great an ambition to become the Prime Minister as Desai or Charan Singh. He had no doubt that the victory was entirely due to him. If he had not exploded his, open inverted comma, bomb, close inverted comma, Ram was convinced Mrs. Gandhi would have come back to power. Why had he left her if he could not become the Prime Minister even now? What was the point in all the fight against dictatorship if he were to remain content with ministership? Even Mrs. Gandhi would have given him that, and perhaps if he had bargained hard enough, she might even have made him the Deputy Prime Minister. His sly aide, H.N. Bahuguna, felt even more frustrated, for he had hoped to rule the country from behind Babuji's, open bracket, Jagjeevan Ram, close bracket, chair. Footnote 62. Para. No wonder, therefore, that the Janata Party leaders started working at cross purposes from the very beginning. The erstwhile Janasangh faction was the single largest group among the party's MPs. It had an organized cadre in the RSS and wanted to take advantage of the factionalism and ambitions of the three ex-congressmen. I repeat, open inverted comma, ex-congressmen, close inverted comma. They played their cards cleverly. Two of their leaders holding cabinet rank, A.B. Vajpayee and L.K. Advani, did well for themselves both as ministers and leaders. As a Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Advani had launched an all-out campaign against Indira Gandhi and her party, with both the government and the private media aiding this purpose. Footnotes. Footnote 62. Janardhan Thakur, Indira Gandhi and Her Power Game, New Delhi, 1979, page 112. In all other ministries and departments, the influence of the RSS and Janasangh elements was quite evident. It was quite natural, therefore, that they exploited the individual rivalry of these leaders. At the center, they supported Morarji Desai, but at the state level, they made adjustments with the Charan Singh faction. Page 179. The Janata Party came to exist formally after the election of 1977, but they fought the election as one party with one symbol. However, friction reigned supreme from the very inception. Charan Singh wanted to head the party, but Morarji Desai was chosen as the chairman. Thereafter, Charan Singh was nullified by being given charge of the northern states. After the election, he could not become the Prime Minister as the mantle fell on Morarji Desai again. Charan Singh wanted to have Karpuri Thakur as the first president of the Janata Party, but again he was frustrated as Chandrasekhar, I repeat, Chandrasekhar was chosen by JP as the first president of the Janata Party. From the very outset, Charan Singh became a disgruntled element and considered himself, open inverted comma, cheated, close inverted comma. Hence, it was no wonder that his camp followers started building up an anti-Desai campaign inside the party and outside. Para. In June 1978, the simmering difference came out in the open. Raj Narayan, who described himself as the Hanuman to Charan Singh, called a press conference and launched an attack against the party president Chandrasekhar, as also against the party's National Executive and Parliamentary Board. All these were ad hoc committees and must be scrapped, he said. Every other day he attacked Chandrasekhar and brought new allegations against him, describing him as an, open inverted comma, illegal, close inverted comma, president, accusing him of hobnobbing with those forces who were propagating the idea of the, open inverted comma, third force, close inverted comma, as an alternative to Congress I and the Janata Party. Even Industry Minister George Fernandes, in a note to the National Executive Committee, admitted I repeat, admitted that there was a gradual erosion of the party and the government and, open inverted comma, all of us are guilty of thinking and acting as members of the merging parties rather than members of one political party. Close inverted comma, footnote 63. Para. Referring indirectly to, I repeat, referring indirectly to the working triumvirate at the top, open bracket, Desai, Charan Singh, and Jagjeevan Ram, close bracket, he urged them to exercise their political and moral authority to keep the party in shape. Open inverted comma. This they owe to the country, to the party, and to posterity. If they fail, the consequence will be tragic for everyone. Close inverted comma, he added. Footnote 64. Para. This was a tall order for the leaders, quarreling continuously for their pounds of flesh and caring two hoots for the country or the people. Open inverted comma. Desai was never tired of privately condemning Jagjeevan Ram for private immorality and corruption. Close inverted comma, wrote Madhulimai in the annual issue of Mainstream, 1979. Open inverted comma, Desai's hypocrisy knows no limits. While publicly supporting Ram's claim for forming a government, privately he has been denouncing Ramji in strong words, saying, open inverted commas, I shall never allow that man who lacks private morality and public integrity to become the Prime Minister. Close inverted commas. Footnote 65. Para. Such was the relationship of the three top leaders of the ruling party within a year of their coming to power. Therefore, when Raj Narayan started to when Raj Narayan started a concerted attack against his party president, there was little doubt that it was an early component in the master plan to remove first the party president and then the prime minister. The Bharatiya Lok Dal, BLD faction of the Janata Party worked out its strategy on the basis of the support it expected from the Janasangh group of the party, which had the largest number of MPs. In 1977, the two had arrived at a deal for the northern states. As a result, the chief ministership of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar went to the BLD faction, while that of Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan went to the Janasangh group. Footnotes. Footnote 63. Janardhan Thakur, Indira Gandhi and Her Power Game, New Delhi, 1979, page 118. Footnote 64, Ibid. Footnote 65, Ibid. Page 181. This plan was upset by a statement of Sundar Singh Bhandari, an important Janasangh leader. Bhandari pointed out that there was no inbuilt provision for the continuity of this arrangement and that none of us can take each other for granted. I repeat, open inverted comma, none of us can take each other for granted, close inverted comma, in our respective designs. He did not agree that Rajnarayan's contention that the National Executive Committee was illegal, and he made it clear that the Janasangh group would not support any no confidence motion against Prime Minister Morarji Desai. This was enough to shelve the scheme for the time being. Para. Rajnarayan was publicly reprimanded by Morarji Desai at the Delhi airport when the former put, open inverted comma, Atur, close inverted comma, on him on his return from a trip abroad. Desai alleged that Rajnarayan had been playing foul during his trip abroad. On 22nd June, Rajnarayan was accused by the National Executive Committee for going public with intra-party differences, thereby violating the directive of the National Executive of the party. When Rajnarayan was concerned, I repeat, when Rajnarayan was cornered in the party, his mentor, Charan Singh, came to his rescue. From a health resort in Surajkund, where he was recuperating from an illness, Charan Singh issued a statement at midnight on 28 June 1978, accusing in strong words a government of which he was a part. But the subject of his statement was his favorite theme, open inverted comma, Indira baiting, close inverted comma. He said the government could not govern the country as it was a, open inverted comma, pack of impotent people, close inverted comma. Open inverted comma, perhaps those who differ from me do not realize sufficiently the intensity of feelings among the people of our country on the government's failure to put the former Prime Minister behind the bars by now. Close inverted comma. He said that a section of the people wanted Indira Gandhi to be detained under the Maintenance of Internal Security Act, open bracket, MISA, M-I-S-A, close bracket. If the government did this, he said, open inverted comma, hundreds of mothers of emergency victims, I repeat, hundreds of mothers of emergency victims would celebrate the occasion like Diwali. Close inverted comma. Page 182. This was the proverbial last straw that broke the camel's back. Morarji Desai asked his Home Minister, Charan Singh, to resign from the cabinet for violating the principle of joint responsibility of the cabinet. Rajnarayan was also asked to resign from the cabinet for his misbehavior in Shimla where, as a minister, he violated the prohibitory order issued under Section 144 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. Para. Madhulimai, a parliamentarian and a socialist, was one of the general secretaries of the Janata Party. He could not stand the RSS and resisted its growing influence in the Janata Party. The occasion of enrollment for party membership gave him an opportunity. He knew that in the membership drive, the organized RSS cadre would outnumber the rest and capture the party as and when organizational elections took place. Limai convinced Rajnarayan that once the Jansangh was isolated, Morarji Desai would be helpless and Charan Singh would emerge as the most powerful entity in the party. Para. The Jansangh faction did not remain idle during this period either. It knew its strengths and weaknesses and was fully aware of the chances of a split in the party and the collapse of the government. Given that it was the biggest beneficiary of the power-sharing arrangement at the center, it understandably tried to bring Charan Singh and Morarji Desai together. It emphasized the need for unity between these two leaders for the smooth returning of the party and, I repeat, smooth running of the party and government. Some other leaders like Biju Patnaik and Chandrasekhar too worked hard to bring Charan Singh back into the government. Para. In such a situation, Charan Singh returned to the government as Deputy Prime Minister, open bracket, and as Finance Minister, close bracket. Morarji Desai agreed to the agreement but remained true to his game by making Jagjeevan Ram Deputy Prime Minister, open bracket, also Defence Minister, close bracket as well. Desai scored another point over Charan Singh by refusing to accommodate Rajnarayan. Wiser in humiliation, Charan Singh accepted the offer and rejoined the government in January 1978. Page 183. But even this arrangement could not save the government from its inevitable downfall. It was just checked for a short while. Since Rajnarayan was left high and dry, he spared no effort in pulling the Desai government down. Para. Developments in the Congress I also influenced the Janata Party. The leaders of the Janata Party had always been obsessed with Indira Gandhi, and during the nearly 3 years that it was in office, the Janata Party could not come out of her shadow. With the expulsion of Devraj Urs, they thought she had been cornered and that her chances of returning to power were slender. They were proved wrong. Para. The first symptoms of the Janata Party's disintegration started showing at the state level. As has been mentioned before, the BLD and Jansangh factions had an understanding on sharing chief ministership across a few northern states. BLD nominees in UP, Haryana and Bihar, and Sangh nominees in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Himachal Pradesh. The toppling game began shortly after, and Ram Naresh Yadav, open bracket, UP, close bracket, Kar- Karpuri Thakur, Bihar, and Devi Lal, Haryana, were replaced by Banarasi Das of Uttar Pradesh, Ram Sundar Das, Bihar, and Bhajan Lal, Haryana, as chief ministers. Factionalism became so rampant that on 13 June, the Janata Party central leadership had to issue a show cause notice to the Chief Minister and Janata Party Chief of Haryana for sabotaging his own party nominee in a by-election to an assembly seat from Narnaul. Para. A day before Raj Narayan was removed from the National Executive Committee of the Janata Party for a year for publicly speaking against his party colleagues and the government's policies. Charan Singh, who was holidaying in Shimla, open bracket, in fact for the most part of his ministerial tenure, Charan Singh had to be lodged in a hospital for a health resort, or a health resort, and was jokingly called, open bracket, Minister for Rest, close bracket. Replied with, open inverted comma, no comment, close inverted comma, to I repeat, and was jokingly called, open inverted comma, Minister for Health, close inverted comma, replied with, open inverted comma, no comment, close inverted comma, to all questions asked on this issue. Para. Apart from Raj Narayan Group, I repeat, apart from the Raj Narayan Group, others too got busy. Madhulimai organized a meeting on 17th May to explore the possibility of left unity in the country. Footnote 66. George Fernandez was not far behind. He convened a conference of the erstwhile socialists in July 1979. At this conference, he strongly advocated the unity of the Janata Party, the failure of which would pave the way for the, open inverted comma, dictator, close inverted comma, to return. Para. Charan Singh's camp was divided between the Hawks and the Doves. The Hawks wanted Charan Singh to quit the Janata Party and revive his BLD, while the Doves, including his wife, advised him that there was no point returning to political wilderness. After all, there was no denying that he was now Deputy Prime Minister of the country with a finance portfolio. Even Charan Singh was reported to have told Mani Ram Bagri, an MP, open inverted comma, you people are breaking the party. It is against the interest of the party and the nation. You should not do it. Close inverted comma. In the meantime, Raj Narayan resigned from the Janata Party. Para. There was also some activity in the Congress, open bracket, ERS, close bracket, footnote 67, camp, and H.N. Bahuguna suggested that Congress, ERS, leaders move a motion of no confidence against the government after the resignation of Raj Narayan from the Janata Party. Congress, open bracket, ERS, close bracket, leaders knew that there would be no serious outcome of the no confidence motion, but their leader Y.B. Chavan tabled it I repeat, but their leader Y.B. Chavan tabled it if only to prove that he could fight too, and that Indira Gandhi was not the singular crusader against the Janata Party, as the whole country was learning with time. Footnotes. Footnote 66. Prominent among those who attended were Bhupesh Gupta, C. Rajeshwar Rao, P. Ramamurthy, Harkishan Singh Surjit, Basava Punaya, and the representatives of the RSP, PWP, and FB. Others included Charanjit Yadav, Raghunath Reddy, K.D. Malviya, Karpuri Thakur, Shyam Nandan Mishra, and Chaudhry Brahm Prakash. Some of those present at this meeting later provided a strong support base for Charan Singh to form his own government. Footnote 67. See Chapter 10 for a detailed description of how Devraj Urs split from Congress I to form his own faction. Page 185. The position of the Congress I was clear. Any move against the government had to be supported because it was no less than another opportunity to expose the misdeeds of the ruling party on the floor of the House. We were certain that though the government might survive, Raj Narayan would play havoc and the government would face an embarrassing situation. Sanjay Gandhi and some of his colleagues were working very secretly on the Raj Narayan faction. Para. By the evening of 8th July, 5 MPs had decided to quit the Janata Party and join Raj Narayan in the House itself. At this point, Devi Lal sprang into action and persuaded another 5 MPs to quit the party on the first day of the Parliament session. The next day, the second round of defections took place from the Janata Party. As many as 9 defectors from Bihar alone. As defectors grew in number, even the doves in Charan Singh's camp were thrown off balance. Devi Lal, Karpuri Thakur, Raj Narayan, and others managed to bring hundreds of socialists and BLD workers from Bihar and Haryana to Delhi to psychologically pressurize fence-sitters to quit the Janata Party. By 10th July, the Janata Party's majority margin was reduced to 3. Charan Singh, who all the while was watching everything silently, pulled the plug only when Congress I decided to support the no-confidence motion. Asked to oppose the no-confidence motion, he was reported to have told Morarji Desai, open inverted comma, I shall be guided by my followers and do whatever they want me to. Close inverted comma. Footnote 68. Para. Jagjeevan Ram invited Janata Party MPs for tea at his residence on 11th July. The press was told that 135 members attended. I repeat, the press was told that 135 members attended. Footnotes. Footnote 68. The Statesman, 11th July, 1979. The apparent reason for convening such a gathering was to promote unity within the party, but the underlying message was clear: Jagjeevan Ram's strength in the party. Page 186. The same evening, the Congress for Democracy, open bracket, CFD, close bracket, group met, and some of Bahugana's supporters suggested that the group should quit the Janata Party. Jagjeevan Ram opposed this and said it would mean resorting to, open inverted comma, Machiavellian tactics, close inverted comma, to cross the floor at that point. He had his own plans. He wanted to project himself as the alternative leader of the Janata Party, the strength of which had already come down to 260 by then. Para. On 12th July, both Bahugana and Biju Patnaik met Morarji Desai, but the meeting did not go well. Morarji Desai was furious with Bahugana and could barely hide it. The same night, Bahugana, Biju Patnaik, and Madhulimai met party president Chandrasekhar. They suggested that the only way to save the situation was to throw out the Jansangh group from the party. But Chandrasekhar refused to buy it. He said, open inverted comma, "You want me to throw out the people who are sitting quietly and to placate those who are defecting? What sort of logic is this?" Close inverted comma. Who better than Chandrasekhar to know that the party could hardly afford to throw out the single largest group of MPs? Para. At the Janata Party Parliamentary Board meeting on 14 July, George Fernandes proposed that Morarji Desai should step down. Jagjeevan Ram nodded in support, but Chandrasekhar did not agree. Morarji Desai refused to budge. Open inverted comma. Only 47 have so far left the party, and the government could survive even up to 70 defections. Close inverted comma. On hearing that, Bahugana left the party. Para. On the night of 14 July, Jagjeevan Ram wrote a letter to Morarji Desai, which was a virtual indictment of his government. He sent copies of this letter to Bahugana and Chandrasekhar. However, the matter was thrashed out when Jagjeevan Ram met Morarji Desai, and it was agreed that the issues raised in the letter would be taken up after the censure motion was over. Page 187. Jagjeevan Ram spoke in defense of the government in the House. So did George Fernandes. He strongly defended the government and spoke against his permanent target, Indira Gandhi. But then, having made a powerful speech, he resigned from the government. Para. By the afternoon of 15 July, Morarji Desai assessed the situation carefully and came to the conclusion that he was going to be defeated. He tried his best to get the support of the All India Anna Dravida Munnetra Kazagam, AIADMK, CPI, and CPIM. Had he managed to get this support against the motion, perhaps the government could have survived. But Bahuguna managed to ensure that CPI and CPIM did not support the Desai government. Desai tendered his resignation to President Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy, drawing the curtain over the Janata Party rule. Para. After Morarji Desai's resignation, the president called Y.B. Chavan as the leader of the opposition to try and form the government. Chavan tried for a few days and then informed the president that he was not in a position to do so. Open bracket, he had sought the support of Charan Singh's followers, but that proved futile. Charan Singh himself was itching to become prime minister. Close bracket. Chavan's failure was predictable. Without the support of Congress I or the Jan Sangh group of the Janata Party, it was impossible to have a working majority in the House. The Jan Sangh was a part of the Janata Party, and the Congress I could not think of supporting Y.B. Chavan, the leader of the Congress, open bracket, ERS, close bracket, a party which we had never ever recognized as the true Congress. There was, however, I repeat, para. There was, however, the possibility of a coalition between Charan Singh and Chavan under the leadership of the former. This was indicated in the letter written by Chavan to the President of India while expressing his inability to form the government. Open inverted comma. As a result of our efforts, there has emerged a combination of parties and groups which, to my mind, would be able to provide a viable and stable government. I trust you will consider this new situation and deal with it as you in your wisdom deem proper. Close inverted comma. Para. After Chavan's failure, after Chavan's failure, the President invited both Morarji Desai and Charan Singh to furnish evidence of their claimed majority within 48 hours. He called Morarji Desai as he continued to be the leader of the Janata Party. He had refused to resign from the leadership of the Janata Party when he resigned from the office of the Prime Minister. His logic was that he was elected the leader of the Janata Party's parliamentary wing for 5 years and that he could be removed from that position only by a 2/3 majority of the House. Para. Congress I suddenly found itself in a key position to strike a political balance. Without our support, nobody could form the government. To support Morarji Desai was out of the question, as we were party to the motion of no confidence. We were clear in our mind about every faction of the Janata Party. We knew that the Janata Party was bound to get crushed under its own weight. We wanted to ensure that it broke from within. Consequently, we decided to support the Charan Singh faction against Morarji Desai. As mentioned earlier, Sanjay Gandhi was in touch with Raj Narayan, and through him, Charan Singh was informed of our decision. When he staked his claim to form the majority, C.M. Stephen and Kamalapati Tripathi, leaders of Congress I in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, and the Rajya Sabha, respectively, informed the President of our support to Charan Singh. Page 189. While the crisis was brewing, so was the volatility in the relationship between Charan Singh and Morarji Desai. On his return from a tour abroad in mid-1978, Prime Minister Morarji Desai had demanded the resignations of Home Minister Charan Singh and Health Minister Raj Narayan. The media was agog with stories about the differences between Charan Singh and Morarji Desai. Newspapers published the correspondence exchanged between Singh and Desai. In an interview to Sunday, 2nd July 1978, Charan Singh commented that he was relieved to be out of a government infested with corrupt people. Raj Narayan went to the extent of publishing practically the entire correspondence between himself and the Prime Minister. Para. The Parliament's monsoon session started on 17th July, and we decided to use the parliamentary forum to the fullest extent possible to expose the Janata Party government. It was the time to go on the offensive. We met regularly to work out our strategy. Indira Gandhi addressed the Congress Parliamentary Party, CPP, and guided us. Meanwhile, we amended the party constitution and Meanwhile, we amended the party constitution and elected Indira Gandhi as the chairperson of the CPP. The party constitution was amended to provide that anyone who had occupied the office of the Leader of the House, open bracket, both in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, close bracket, and continued to be the member of the party, would be an ex officio member of the parliamentary party. The amendment was made to ensure that Indira Gandhi could participate in all deliberations of the CPP. This apart, she attended most meetings of the Congress I party in Parliament as the party president. Para. The strategy for the monsoon session was that we should attack the government in both the houses, but concentrate on the Rajya Sabha, where the ruling party was numerically weaker. Accordingly, Pandit Kamalapati Tripathi was the leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha. Accordingly, Pandit Kamalapati Tripathi, as the leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha, raised the issue of corruption as a special mention. Page 190. He observed, "Sir, I wish to draw the attention of the House to an extremely serious issue of importance for India. Chaudhry Charan Singh has made serious allegations of corruption against the Prime Minister's son, against many other ministers, named and unnamed, and generally against the government in which he was the Home Minister for the past 15 months. He has gone on record to say that while in government, he was surrounded by many corrupt persons, that he had committed two serious mistakes, one of which was to make Mukherjee Desai the Prime Minister, that as Home Minister he had been trying to root out corruption from all high places, but his efforts were brought to naught because such more powerful sources were protecting corruption, and that his ouster from the cabinet was because he had suggested an inquiry against the Prime Minister's son and some other ministers and their relations and wives. It has been reported that several letters were exchanged between the then Home Minister Charan Singh and the Prime Minister on the subject of corruption of the latter's son. Extracts of some letters have appeared in a widely read section of the press. The press reports in their fragmentary form are highly scandalous and extremely damaging to the image of the government of this great country. On the other hand, after all this happened, a last-minute pitiful and pathetic effort has been made to sweep the entire public scandal under the carpet and draw the curtain over the whole sordid story. The leaders of the government have sought to treat all these public issues as their private affairs and the whole government as their private property. Sir, I say that the nation has a right to know the truth. Footnote 69. Footnote 69, Rajya Sabha Debates, Volume Page 191. Kamalapati Tripathi demanded that a commission of inquiry be set up to bring the guilty to book before, open inverted comma, the bar of public opinion, close inverted comma. Para. After this observation, Kalpanath Rai of Congress I and some other members went on to demand response from the government, but nobody from the Treasury benches responded to the demand. The disturbances continued. The House was adjourned for lunch at 1:22 p.m. During the recess, Kalpanath Rai, Shyamlal Yadav, and Ramanand Yadav, along with the leader of opposition and a few others, including me, went to the chairman's chamber. The leader of the House and other party leaders were also present. We could not reach any agreement. When the House reassembled at 2:33 p.m., the scene was repeated. Kalpanath Rai went on speaking. The Deputy Chairman, Ram Nivas Mirda, tried to stop him and passed the order not to record Rai's speech, but could not prevent him from speaking. Even the other opposition parties got into the act, adding to the confusion. No government issue or any other business could be taken up. At last, the Deputy Chairman adjourned the House for the day at 2:41 p.m. Footnote 70. I repeat, at last the Deputy Chairman adjourned the House for the day at 2:41 p.m. Footnote 70. Para. On 18th July 1978, at a meeting in the chamber of the chairman and in the presence of leaders of all major parties, it was decided that the matter would be discussed through a, open inverted comma, call attention motion, close inverted comma, on the following day. On 19th July 1978, the motion was moved by A.P. Sharma, and Prime Minister Desai made a brief statement. Mr. Deputy Chairman, Sir, the notice given by A.P. Sharma and 9 other honourable members seeks to call my attention to the reported exchange of correspondence between me and Charan Singh when he was the Home Minister, and the allegation reportedly made by him that he was surrounded by corrupt persons. The latter part appears to be based on a press report of an interview of Charan Singh by a Calcutta weekly on the 1st of July. In that interview, Charan Singh is said to have made the following observations in reply to a question after he resigned from the government. Open inverted comma, I feel relieved. In the government, I was surrounded by many corrupt persons. Close inverted comma. Para. I presume that Charan Singh was referring to his assessment of corruption in general. There can be no difference of opinion about the need to root out corruption. Throughout my career, both in the government and outside, I have been an unrelenting advocate of strong and effective measures to deal with this evil and have dealt strictly with any prima facie case brought to my notice. Para. As regards the first part of the question, it is well recognized that communications between ministers are privileged communications. The reasons behind this principle is that the effective functioning of the government requires that there should be full and frank exchange of views between ministers, which would be hampered if ministers could be compelled to disclose the contents of such communication. This has been recognized by May's parliamentary practice also. Charan Singh has, Charan Singh has marked his correspondence, open inverted comma, secret, close inverted comma, and my replies are marked likewise. I, therefore, propose to adhere to that inviolable principle in the transactions of government business, and I seek the indulgence of the House in enabling me to do so. Footnote 71. Footnotes. Footnote 69. Rajya Sabha debates, volume 106, number 1, 17 July 1978, pages 189 to 194. Footnote 70, Rajya Sabha Debates, volume 106, number 1, 17th July 1978, pages 189 to 194. Footnote 71, Rajya Sabha Debates, volume 106, number 3, 19th July 1978, pages 240 to 241. Page 193. Morarji Desai's curt reply, open inverted comma. Sir, I have not asked any question and I do not have to reply to anything. I do not want to add to what I have said in my statement. Close inverted comma. Stunned the whole House with its arrogance. I did not want to miss the opportunity and allow the situation to slip from our grip. From what Morarji Desai had to say, I figured out that the government would not yield. A.P. Sharma, the mover of the motion, made a lengthy speech lasting nearly 30 minutes, but the ruling party did not respond on any issue. Para. I rose on a point of order and was permitted to make a brief observation. I argued that since the contents of some of these letters have already appeared in the media and had been owned by one of the authors, open bracket, that is Charan Singh, close bracket, the Prime Minister could not claim, open inverted comma, privilege, close inverted comma. These had to now be placed on the table of the House, and the country had to know who was lying. The Prime Minister was not really convinced by this argument, but it gave a handle to others to mount an attack on the government. Bhupesh Gupta, Devendra Nath Dwivedi, Dinesh Goswami, and Vishwanath Menon pressed the government to disclose the correspondence. Pandemonium reigned. The Prime Minister left the House in a huff, presuming that the matter was over, and this added fuel to the fire. Fire. The House was adjourned at 4:26 p.m. and no other business could be transacted. Para. The next day, on 20th July, the issue of corruption came up again. Kamalapati Tripathi made a statement demanding that the whole issue be reopened and the correspondence between the Prime Minister and the Home Minister be tabled. He pointed out that the question of, open inverted comma, secrecy, close inverted comma, was no longer tenable, and that another cabinet minister, Raj Narayan, had gone to the media with the entire correspondence between him and the Prime Minister. He further observed that people in the country as well as outside were debating this issue, but MPs who represented the nation were denied authoritative information from the government. He held the government responsible for the impasse created in the House and strongly criticized the behavior of the Prime Minister, who had I repeat, and strongly criticized the behavior of the Prime Minister, who had left the House before the discussion on the subject had concluded. Para. After Kamlapati Tripathi, L.K. Advani, leader of the House, spoke. He referred to the stalemate created in the House and gave the views of the government. He justified the action of the Prime Minister in leaving the House and sought cooperation from the leader of the opposition in ensuring the smooth functioning of the House. Para. Kamlapati Tripathi, in his turn, observed that it was not the sole responsibility of the opposition to run the House, and that the reply of the leader of the House was far from convincing. With the permission of the House, I rose to my feet and made the following observation. Sir, the Honourable Leader of the House has mentioned in reply to the observations of the Honourable Leader of the Opposition that the matter has been settled. What was our demand? We know that the Home Minister of the country was asked to resign by the Prime Minister along with another Cabinet Minister who was in charge of health and family welfare. It is normal parliamentary practice that when a minister resigns, he comes before the House to which he belongs, makes a statement, and explains the reasons for his resignation. In this case, the two persons who resigned, not voluntarily, but were asked by the Prime Minister to tender their resignations, chose not to make any statement before the House to which they belonged. The Prime Minister also did not make any statement on what prompted him to ask these two ministers to resign. So many things have come to the press, but the members of the Parliament, to whom the ministers are collectively and individually responsible and accountable, did not have any opportunity to know what happened between the two persons who occupied high offices in the government and the circumstances under which the Prime Minister directed his Home Minister and Health Minister to resign from the government. Page 195. The Leader of the House is coming forward and preaching the sermon that the whole matter has been settled. How has it been settled? Can any member belonging to his party tell us what are the reasons for their resignations? What is the authoritative version of their resignations? Are the members of Parliament not entitled to know? If these gentlemen would have come forward and made a statement suo motu on the floor of the House on the situation in which he was compelled to direct these two gentlemen to resign from his cabinet, one could have understood that the matter had been settled. Para. The plea taken by the Prime Minister yesterday was that these were secret documents, which is also not acceptable and is untenable. There are hundreds of instances. When Mohan Daria was directed by the then Prime Minister to resign from the Council of Ministers, in his statement on the floor of the House, he revealed the entire contents of his letter to the then Prime Minister and those of the then Prime Minister's letter to him. Footnote 72. Para. After my observation, the issue continued to be debated. However, as the House could not be brought to order, it was adjourned at 2:47 p.m. till the next day. Again, no official business could be transacted. The issue was taken up again on 24th July 1978, and Shanti Bhushan, Shanti Bhushan responded to the points raised by various members. Footnotes. Footnote 72. Rajya Sabha Debates, 20th July 1978, pages 248 to 250. Page 196. He repeated the arguments of the Prime Minister that the correspondence between cabinet ministers should be considered confidential for the effective functioning of the government. In the course of the debate, he also said that, open inverted commas, the government would be willing to abide by the advice of the chairman that you as chairman should evolve some method by which the anxieties can be allayed, and yet a bad precedent may not be laid down on such an important principle. Close inverted commas. Footnote 73. Para. Shanti Bhushan put the ball in the court of the chairman, and the chairman fell into the trap and subsequently told the House that, open inverted commas, I have advised the government that it would be better if the government places this correspondence in the chairman's chamber for perusal by the leader of the opposition and the leaders and some members of the other parties and groups in the House who attended our meeting. Close inverted comma. The opposition had scored a point with the government agreeing to disclose the contents of the letters to some members, if not to the whole House. Para. N.K.P. Salve of the Congress I tabled a motion asking for 2 separate commissions of inquiry to look into allegations of corruption against members of the families of the then Prime Minister Morarji Desai and the former Home Minister Charan Singh. Para. Not all opposition parties, which accounted for about 2/3 of the total strength of the House, supported us on the issue of setting up the Commission of Inquiry. With their support, the motion was sure to have carried. I repeat, sure to have been carried, but that was not to be. The fear of the re-emergence of Indira Gandhi caused many opposition parties to support the ruling Janata Party. Footnotes. Footnote 73. Rajya Sabha Debates, Volume 106, Number 6, 24th July 1978, pages 187 to 188. The ruling party also successfully divided the opposition with the help of the Congress led by Y.B. Javan. Page 197. The latter did not take too kindly to the aggressive role of the Congress I had been playing ever since the split. They had not succeeded in coming out of the open inverted comma spell, close inverted comma, of open inverted comma constructive cooperation, close inverted comma, yet. The role of the other opposition parties was hardly significant. In fact, ever since the 1978 split, the role of the other non-ruling parties had become rather insignificant, with the Congress I taking center stage as the key opposition. The others argued that since the recommendation of the Rajya Sabha for appointing the inquiry commission would not have any, open inverted comma, legal binding, close inverted comma, open bracket, as the Act provided authority to appoint such commissions only on the Lok Sabha and state assemblies, close bracket. The motion could not recommend such an appointment. We were insistent, particularly given the precedent set by the Janata Party government of appointing commissions against Congress leaders at random. A compromise formula was evolved. Bhupesh Gupta suggested to me that we should recommend a commission in our motion. Other opposition groups would recommend an amendment to the motion, suggesting the appointment of the Committee of the House to guide the government in matters such as these. We agreed to the compromise in order to defeat the government on the floor of the House on this issue. Indira Gandhi also agreed to this formula. Para. N.K.P. Salve, I repeat, N.K.P. Salve made a brilliant speech on this occasion, and his attack was devastating. He leveled as many as 29 specific charges of irregularities against the family members of the Prime Minister. His debating skills sparkled as he went on to quote some of the adverse remarks made against Morarji Desai by Chandrasekhar, A.B. Vajpayee, and George Fernandez in a debate held in August 1968. He told the House that all three, who had then leveled charges of corruption against Morarji Desai, were now the first to rush to his defense. Page 198. This irony, he told the House, was compounded by another, that some speakers defending the government had to fall back on the certificate once given to Morarji Desai by the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Para. The House enjoyed the repartee gleefully, but Morarji Desai's reply was dignified and bold. His main contention was that there was no prima facie case, and since there was no specific charge against any of his family members, there was no need to appoint an inquiry committee. Drawing instances from the past when similar charges had been made against his son, he pointed out that investigation into these cases by various agencies, including the Central Bureau of Investigation, open bracket CBI, close bracket, had revealed nothing. Unlike others, he refrained from making any counterattack against Indira Gandhi or anybody else. Para. After the debate was over, the motion, open brackets, along with amendments, close bracket, was taken up for voting. The amendment moved by Bhupesh Gupta was approved by 104 to 78 votes. According to the arrangement, the Congress I, the Congress Ers, and the CPI voted for the amendment. All other opposition parties and groups opposed the motion and voted with the ruling party. But it wasn't too bad, as after the biennial elections to the Rajya Sabha in 1978, the Congress Ers and the Congress I combined became the largest party in the Rajya Sabha. Getting the motion passed in the House posed no problem. I repeat, posed no problem. Para. The amendment suggested by Bhupesh Gupta was a landmark achieved since it recommended a parliamentary committee to guide the government in matters of alleged corruption. The government was caught in a bind. They couldn't accept the recommendation nor reject it outright. Embarrassed by this turn of events, they could not even give a focused response to the resolution adopted by the House. Page 199. However, the text of the amended resolution left some leeway for both the chairman of the House and the government to take advantage, and the latter took advantage of this leeway and sat on the resolution. I had apprehended this situation, but our hands were tied. On 17th August 1978, the Hindu reported that the chairman of the Rajya Sabha was consulting the law minister on the motion adopted in the House. Open inverted comma, motion on graft. I repeat, motion on graft. Jatti consults law minister. Close inverted comma. Para. There was strong reaction to this delay in the Rajya Sabha, with Bhupesh Gupta, Kamlapati Tripathi, Bhola Paswan Shastri, Shomen Bhattacharya, and Kalpanath Rai speaking up strongly and saying that Parliament had been taken for a ride. I pointed out that the government was buying time, knowing that the Rajya Sabha would be adjourned shortly, and it was unfortunate that the chairman of the House was also assisting the government in delaying the matter. Finally, on 24th August 1978, Prime Minister Morarji Desai spoke and essentially regretted the government's inability to agree to either of the two lines of action suggested in the motion. And subsequently, the chairman indicated that he would have to go by the fact that the government chose not to adopt either of the two alternatives. Para. While this issue was being battled in Parliament, the ruling Janata Party decided to go on the offensive in a bid to isolate a combative Congress I and possibly also to divert attention. It claimed that the Congress I was deliberately disrupting the House proceedings so as to stall the passing of the 44th Amendment to the Constitution. Open bracket, by this amendment, the Janata government sought to reverse the charges brought about by the 42nd Amendment, which had been passed during the emergency. Close bracket. Our stand on the 44th Amendment was clear. We were not opposed to it per se, but had reservations regarding some of its provisions. To say that we were trying to stall its passage in Parliament was incorrect. Page 200. The reaction to this decision was obvious, except for the CPIM and a few smaller groups. All major opposition parties reacted sharply. All of us opposed the chairman's contention. I repeat, all of us opposed the chairman's contention. But insofar as the House was concerned, the curtain was drawn on the issue. Even though we could not make the government agree to our proposal, we had scored a point over them. The attempt to isolate the Congress I, in the House had been thwarted, and we emerged as the principal opposition party on the floor of the House and outside. The activities of the party outside the Parliament grew substantially too.